This is Find Your Flow, a show about navigating the complexities of life and business through the lens of curiosity. I'm your host, Angelique, and I bring together experts to deliver responsibly curated conversations and perspectives that aim to progress people and the planet. Imagine a world where voice was more than just a means of communication. Rather, a portal to the depths of one's soul and a deeper connection to our sense of well-being. My guest today is a unique expert in the realm of voice and self-expression, and I also get to call her a good friend of mine. And today we'll be chatting with Rush Dorsett. She has been exploring what it means to open up our voice and enable authentic expression for many years, and just a wealth of knowledge. So today we're going to dive into some insights on why vocal practices are crucial for personal growth and how embodiment plays a pivotal role in enriching our lives. So Rush, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. I feel like this is long overdue. We've known each other. My gosh, I moved to the Triangle 10 years ago, and I've known you and your family since moving here, which has been such a blessing. And just watching your journey with what you are creating. So, profound connection between body, voice, and the essence of human expression.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you begun this work? What brought you to this work in the first place? Give the people some background here.
Yes, some context. Well, I'm so excited to be here too, Angel, and we're birthday twins, just FYI,
right.
everybody. So that's cool. But anyway, to answer your question, what got me into embodied voice work? Well, I've been singing for as long as I can remember, and it was something that I didn't really think about as a career until college, when I started thinking about, well, what matters in the world and how can I contribute with my skills? And so I started going down the track of psychology and thinking about, human behavior and how can we help people's mindsets so that we can live better lives. But I also had this passion for music and singing, and I was always trying to think of, how do I weave these together for something that can actually help people and make the world a better place. And over the course of continuing my studies, I went and got a master's degree in vocal performance and voice science, so I could teach voice lessons and help people open up their voices with technique. And meanwhile, I was also training as a yoga teacher, diving deep into somatic studies of the body and mind, spirit creation, and connection, I meant, and looking into how to weave all these things. And then embodied voice was born from that. So it's basically a way to integrate all of these modalities to support the mind, body, and spirit and becoming aligned for authentic expression in the world.
Wow. And I'm going to brag on you a little bit because I've had the pleasure of hearing you sing in a church setting, you had the sound bath, the bowls when we did the yoga aerials. I mean, I felt like in a very small sense, I was able to feel the connection of voice and embodiment just by hearing your voice. And I know that is such a gift and a talent that you're able to share with others. And I find it really unique when you talk about intertwining the psychology and the somatic aspect of voice and its impact on our body and our mind and our spirit. I'd love to dive in a little bit more there, perhaps, and maybe just give us a 30,000 viewpoint of the changes that you see in people when doing this work.
Yes. Well, quite tangibly, let's take, for example, because I work with both singers and people wanting to sing music, but I also work with public speakers and people who are just wanting to feel more confident in their speaking voice and in their expression. And so tangibly, what these practices can offer people is a way to open up the expressive qualities in their voices. So rather than speaking, let's say, really monotone and really boring like this, and then all of a sudden you're losing your listeners. It's hard for me to even talk like that for very long because it's so boring. So what if we can actually get into our bodies and express from that place, an authentic place? So what I'm talking about is connecting in with our chakra alignment, our energy body, as well as physical alignment, because that's very important for healthy vocal technique. Seeing how those things come together and connecting with your passion, your life force energy, and allowing that joy and that zest for life to come through your voice, because when we create that, we can really connect with listeners. We can connect deeply from a soul-centered and heart-centered place, rather than coming from our heads so much, coming from a more mental, a lot of people have challenges with being self-conscious or overthinking or having performance anxiety, especially people who are about to, let's say, lead a meeting or get on stage and make a pitch. Those kinds of things put us into a fight or flight response in our nervous system. And then all of a sudden, everything you've practiced just flies out the window, because all of a sudden, okay, my breathing, my heart is pounding, I'm nervous, and then my voice is squeaking out and it's not coming out the way that you would like. So what if you practice, and that's what embodied voice practices are about. It's a way to actually practice this skill of mastering our nervous system and mastering our vocal expression, so that we really can share our message in the way that feels fully expressed.
Wow, and how we want our message to be shared.
Right.
Man, so many things just come up for me with that, and to understand more about how you work with individuals, even just in the public speaking place. That is, I've learned at some point that some people are more afraid, many people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of sharks or car accidents or, things like that. And it's fascinating. And, one of the things that I connect in that realm for myself is I was a competitive cheerleader. And the first time I was kind of introduced to understanding the power of voice and what it means from a body level was we had to really focus on hitting certain parts of our cheer or our counts using our diaphragm. And even I think about how I use voice commands, and this is, tell me if I'm way off here, but voice commands when training my dog, and the power that has to, guide training. And then the last thing I really connect with is one thing that I'm still working on is becoming more confident in presentations, because it's like I get so jazzed, I can know the materials, but then you're, like you said, everything goes out the door. And once you get into that space, and so it takes a minute to kind of find your footing, if you will. But one of the things that I had done was my yoga teacher training. And that was a profound opportunity for me to practice public speaking in a setting where, you're upside down. You're probably not focused on me and what I'm saying, but it gave me so much more of a sense of confidence to put myself into these arenas to try something new and find my voice in those ways. And I love it's a niche that you offer. It's a very you don't hear about this a lot. I know there's professional like speaking coaches, but just the aspect of focusing on voice and the embodiment of what it feels like to feel confident.
Yeah, I love your reflections there, because it's so tangibly applied in so many aspects of life. I mean, you're going to lead a yoga class and guide people into a deep internal experience differently than you are going to make a presentation in front of a board meeting, for example. And they require different types of expression.
Right.
And so I love being able to train our body to connect in with what is appropriate in this moment. What do I really want to land right now? Do I want to talk with conviction and confidence? Do I want to talk in a more heart-centered place? What's the tone of voice that's needed right now?
Right.
So that's a really beautiful, beautiful way to think about it.
I love it. So if somebody was interested in working with you, what does something like that look like? Where do they get started? How do they find you? What are the workshops? What is your offering?
Yes. Well, first, what I'll say is what they need is a mindset and a open mindset and an open heart, because this type of work is also very therapeutic. So yes, it's about results, and it's about supporting you and getting your message out there and landing. And it's also about self-inquiry. It's about self-observation, because the patterns that we hold around our voices, what's okay, what's not okay, these patterns that we've the conditions that we've received around what's appropriate in our voices and what's not oftentimes can make us feel stifled in our expression. So there needs to be a willingness to let go of some of that and reclaim parts of ourselves that we haven't allowed to come through. So what I find is with a lot of my students, yes, they're singing on stages or they're speaking on stages, but they're also feeling so much more aligned in themselves. So, but that's because they have a willingness to go deep in the work. So with that said, types of contexts that I offer for people to explore their voice is one, I offer group classes often. So I have monthly classes, embodied voice classes, and you can find those on my website. It's rushdorsett.com. And you can find things about my one-on-one voice coaching. So that's for people that really want to go deep and actually receive some personalized coaching. Essentially, I'm able to take a look and see your alignment and hear your tone, and we can make adjustments. And then also the group. And then I have my signature program, which is called Embodied Voice Academy. And that's like a full immersion. So that's each month we go through mastering a different chakra and really embodying that in all aspects of our expression. So that's for the deep dives. And that's probably the best way to explore this work.
That's incredible. And what kind of clients are you working with right now?
Yes, I have mostly two different kinds of clients. One is a person who has always loved singing, but maybe they haven't given themselves a chance to sing. It tends to be busy professionals who want a creative outlet, who want to have more joy and more expression, and to have a space held for them to really explore this embodiment work and maybe work on some songs and see what their voice is actually capable of. So that's I love working with that type of client. And then another person is a professional who's really wanting to feel confident in public speaking. So that's people who are creating content. They want to feel confident in their video creation. They don't want to feel held back by their fear of being seen and being visible in their voice. So yeah. And then I have a few professional singers also who are wanting to just go deeper into embodiment. That, they've had a lot of training around their voice. They're already singing professionally, but they just want to feel more actually authentic about it. Yeah. So actually it's 3 different types of people generally.
Well, that's so interesting though, because you're able to, it's a vulnerable space to begin with. And people are showing up because they're either required to show up or there's this, freedom and voice that they're trying to find, like you say, like the chakra work or just self-expression or wanting to explore their creativity. And so it seems like you can meet people where they're at, depending on what they're looking for too, with the skill set that you have. And I've also really enjoyed seeing you in the Triangle area when you were living here, because you're in Austin now. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, where in the world is Rush?
But
when you were in the Triangle area offering some of the sound baths, and I mean, talk about a meditative experience that is, and being able to like use your voice in that healing way. And so it's just, I love seeing you use your many talents to heal people, to guide people, and, ignite the power within in many ways.
Thank you so much. I love the sound baths. I'm just in love with the power of sound, to shift our consciousness. That's really what it's about, is how can we shift our mindset? How can we shift our energy so that we can connect in with our inner guidance? So we actually get out of the noise, because we're so overstimulated in our lives. Oh my gosh, how can we tap into our inner listening and then move into our lives from that inner guidance?
Yes. So, all right. One other question came up while you're talking about that.
Yeah.
So on the topic of frequencies, I had somebody a few years ago recommend listening to binaural audio beats. And I started listening to them for sleep, and it helped a ton. And then I started listening to them during the day, and where I was listening to some of my top albums or, an indie genre playlist, oldies, whatever, I notice now that I can really get deep into work listening to binaural audio beats. So what do you know about frequencies? How would you explain that to a person who's like, what are binaural beats? What and how can I use this for better focus or sleep?
Oh, great question. I'm fascinated by this as well. So, sound healing essentially is well, so binaural beats, they help us attune our brainwave state. So, we have several different kinds of brainwaves that we can optimize. One is alpha state, which is
Mhm.
that's a really good brainwave state. It's a frequency that we can get
Right.
into for deep focus, which is really, really great for work. It's relaxed, calm, but alert and focused at the same time. And so generally you can use binaural beats to help cultivate that brainwave state. You can also use binaural beats to at a lower frequency to get more into a theta state, which is like a dream-like state. That's really great for meditation, tapping into the subconscious mind. And then of course there's delta for sleep. Beta is very, very high alert. That's like you're exercising, so it's a little bit more of a stress type of state. So sound, I mean, we can think about how fast sound works to shift us. I mean, the
Mhm.
second you listen to a song that you heard when you were a kid and you know every single word to it, you just go right back into that frequency. You
Mhm.
go right back into the emotions you felt. You know every single word to the song. Similarly, frequencies can help us shift our energy very quickly because sound
Mhm.
moves matter. And so I highly recommend people to, you can literally look on YouTube and Spotify and find sound healing, sound baths, Tibetan bowls. I really love crystal bowls and playing those. They have really special healing frequencies. And the last thing I'll say on that is a lot of it is about getting ourselves into homeostasis. So that is a balanced nervous system state that actually allows us to it allows our body to actually do the healing work. If we're
Mm.
constantly in a cortisol response and we're stressed out and our adrenals are running on high alert, our body and our cells can't actually heal and come into balance. So yeah, turn on some healing frequencies and drop in and let it be a part of your day. I usually do that for a few minutes every day.
Great overview. And I love that you dove into the aspects of what is alpha, what is beta, when to use them, when not to use them. You're not going
Yeah,
to want to be listening to beta beats when you're going to bed, it seems.
exactly. Yeah, it's
But
very, you can be very intentional about it.
exactly, exactly. And like you said, I loved how you phrased it. Sound moves matter. And
Mhm.
even how it has the ability to reconnect our brains in different ways and to balance our brains in different ways. One quick reflection point that I've had on that from a personal experience is my mom had dementia.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I would really be able to reconnect with her on in so many ways was always putting on some Motown, putting on some music. And
Yeah.
instantly it was like, she and I were able to just dive right in, pick back up. She was, mentioning things from, the long-term memory that she had of then. And you would even start to see some of the calibration of short-term come back
Mm.
into play when she was listening to this music. So it's so incredible when you think about the power of music, the power of voice,
Mhm.
and confidence, the confidence that comes from that. How it is, again, like you said, you coined it so well. It's a life force energy.
Absolutely. And you think about our bodies are made of, I don't know the exact percentage, but it's around 70% water.
Yeah.
So, and if you've ever seen scientific experiments where they move sound waves through water, it
Oh,
obviously creates ripples and it creates
correct.
beautiful geometric designs based on what frequency is happening. So that's what's happening in our cells. And we have all these bony structures. I mean, that's what singing technique is about. We have all these bones in our head and in our ears that are resonating the sound and allowing it to project out in a healthy way. So we're attuning ourselves. We're like tuning forks. Our whole body is a way to resonate sound. And so I love being able to tap into what already is available to us.
Mhm. And all the energy forces that live within us. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Rush,
Yeah.
this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a lot of sound bites, pun intended, from here that the people will enjoy. I'll drop some of the links that we mentioned, especially to your website, rushdorset.com. And I really hope that some people, some listeners out there get a hold of Rush. And I mean, I know I'm interested in maybe joining that monthly workshop. So I would love to talk offline with you about that, and excited to see what's next. And just
Oh,
very proud of you to be using your talents and your voice to make a difference.
oh, thank you so much, Angel. And thank you, listeners here. Feel free to get in touch with me. I'd love to chat with you about your voice. And Angel, thank you so much for creating this beautiful platform. I mean,
Thank
you're
you.
bringing in amazing people. You're using your voice in such an incredible way, creating an uplifting, inspiring space. I just really honor you for that. And it's a joy to be here. This is so wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rush.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you soon.